Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Just to introduce myself, my name is Fadi Ganni. I'm a US CPA certified. I work for a lot of multinational firms in Canada, the US, and globally. And I've been in the training business, professional training business for the last 30 years. I've been giving courses around the world from Asia, Middle East, Europe, India, and Canada, and the USA as well. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the ESG. I want to give you a bit of perspective. I don't know how familiar you are with the topic. I want to give you a perspective on what is ESG, and we talk a bit specifically about the Canadian market, and then we'll move into why is it important to gain those skills, what can you do with them, and how is the market changing, and how would it help you in your career. So it's a very interesting topic. It's a trending topic, and everybody is talking about it. We'll keep the question answer towards the end, so I'm gonna give you ample time to ask any questions. But I prefer to go over the entire presentation, mark down your questions, and I'll take them towards the end of the presentation. So the discussion today is we're gonna talk a bit about ESG overall, where we are. I'm gonna zoom in a bit, talk about the landscape in Canada and the Canadian market, and how we put ESG into practice a bit, what's going on. Just give you an examples. And then we'll talk about the skills if you want to get into this field. And we'll talk about the certificate, the exam, and how we should prepare for the exam. Like I mentioned, we keep the question answer period towards the end. So just to tell you, the ESG today, we are in a transitioning. So historically, just to define what is ESG, I'll get into the definition. It's basically, if I want to put it in simple words, it's governance on steroids. And this is really what it is, ESG. So we are transitioning from looking at sustainable investing as a good idea, as a good citizen, into it is now a reality. It's a must. So before we used to always talk about a good corporate governance, corporate social responsibility, equality, all of this falls into environment, social, and governance, ESG. So really, sustainable investing now is not a good idea. It's a reality. And it has implications for people who are working in investment, like portfolio managers, capital markets. It really has a big impact today. And the trick is the ability to be able to integrate environmental, social, and governance factors, which we'll talk about them, into investment decisions. Is a very important vital skill. So organizations now are looking for those type of people. The standards around the globe, the accounting standards now are evolving, where you have to report on ESG, and there are certain regulations being as well pushed by governments towards ESG investments. So building those skills and able to integrate them into decision making, finance and investment decision making, is an important skill that will pay off. So what is really, in simple words, ESG? When we refer to ESG, what we mean by that is environmental, social, and governance factors to assess the sustainability of companies and countries. So we use those three, and they are big words. When you talk about environmental, it's not one or two things, it's many things. Social is a lot of things, governance is a lot of things. So we use those three elements to be able to assess companies' sustainability, even countries. These three factors, environmental, social, and governance, have gone way further than historically when we used to talk about it includes like climate change, human rights, adherence to laws. These are part of the ESG. It's a simple, small part of the larger umbrella when we talk about ESG. And really, the certificate or the knowledge is how you're able to manage your business to integrate those factors into operations, as well as any business model, its impact, reporting, and sustainability. This is really what is ESG. So when we look at environmental social governance, and this is in simple words, and it's not, there's a lot more to it. I'm just giving you an idea. When we refer to environmental, we're talking about develop greener products, switch to zero waste products, encourage recycling, and reduce the usage of energy and carbon as well. So these are just an examples. When we talk about social, we're talking about safe products, equality in workforce, support health and safety, invest in the local community, fair pay and living wages, adhering to labor laws. When we look at governance, we're talking about adhering to ethics, accurate reporting, preventing bribery, act honestly and accountability, diversity in leadership, transparency when it comes to executive pay, risk management, and compliance. These are just examples, and within each one there are a lot of more subtopics, and there's a lot of businesses being created out of this. I'll give you examples shortly. Even smaller companies now, they're looking to embrace sustainable investing. So it's not only large corporates, it's even smaller ones. There are a lot of benefits. It improves the company reputation. In many instances, it reduces costs. I'll give you examples about reduction of costs. For example, now there are in Europe and even in Canada, they're pushing for carbon credit. So if you, the carbon that you have, if you store it and recycle it and turn it into good thing, instead of polluting, you can get credits. You can get credits from governments, you can get tax credits, you can get crediting. There's a crediting system being created. That's just an example. So how it reduces cost. It attracts employees, the new generation, they rather work for a company that's socially responsible. It helps drive investments and secure investments and attracts customers. Why? Because now you have to report on all of this. So even from the accounting point of view, there are reporting standards being issued where the big four now, when we talk about KPMG, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, they're all now involved in giving consulting and helping corporates to be able to create a reporting on ESG. It's a part of, soon it will be a requirement to report like any other accounting financial transaction. You have to report it. This is as well, soon it's going to be in demand. So who cares wins? In simple words, if we look at ESG, I gave you the environmental, social, but it's a bigger scope. If I look in the investment area, because today's discussion is going to be the ESG in the investment field. We're not talking about other aspects, only in the investments. So it gives better investment markets, which leads to more sustainable societies. So if you want to look at the whole ecosystem, we're looking at investor asset managers. They would reward ESG research and they integrate ESG factors into research. If we look at regulators, stock exchanges, and governments, they are reporting standards, like I mentioned, and there are specific listing the requirements. If we look at the brokers, they will include it in their analysis and research. Accountants, they are helping facilitate standardization. Educators are looking at training on ESG issues. Consultants now are combining ESG research with industry level research. NGOs now, it's part of the requirement for NGOs, whoever is supporting specific cases, is that they look at certain elements within their organization to report on ESG. This is on a larger scale. Okay, the whole ops. Let me. So why we're here, why now we're discussing this? Well, first is from the investment field or the finance area, there is a lot of fundamental reevaluation of value, how we look at the value of company and capital markets. So the way we value them, the way we look at them, there's a fundamental reevaluation process going on. That's one aspect. The other aspect is that ESG factors are reshaping the Canadian investment landscape. Governments are pushing for it. The pension funds are pushing for it. We'll talk about it. And the critical question is not, are we prepared to be able to follow the ESG standards or whatever standards are coming or will be coming? We need to be equipped because now it's a reality and it has arrived, and it's being addressed at various corporate levels as well. So it's not a trend. It's coming like the way we had the governance coming. Now it's coming at a bigger scale. So we are really at an inflection point, when I say today, where there's a permanent evolution on how companies are financed, organized, and operated. So if large corporates, if they don't follow certain standards and they do reporting on their environmental, social, and governance, probably they will not get proper financing. A case in point, I'll give you like the large IT companies like Apple and everything. You know, when they go into the supply chain in China and India, where they audit they make sure that their suppliers are adhering to laws, labor laws, and everything. They're not hiring kids to work in those factories. So all this falls part of what I'm talking about, which is the governance. As well, it is driven by escalating social economic costs. So if we look at the environmental degradation, in particularly, it's costing the economy around $2.8 trillion annually. And the risks of not following, there's a material risk and opportunities that comes along with integrating ESG and greenwashing it or not looking at it. It will hinder access to capital today. So it is a permanent evolution. It's not a trend. In Canada, and this is a research, we pulled it up. I have the references if you need them. I can forward them to you. The Canadian CEOs, they're leading, and if 29% of CEOs identify ESG as their primary operational focus. So really, CEOs, 29%, they say it's part of our operational focus. If you look in Canada, versus if you look at their counterpart globally, they're ranking around 13%. So really, Canada is taking it to the next level. And the main driver is not ideology, but regulation. So Canada is pushing for regulation as well. 78% of those Canadian CEOs, they cite that new and evolving reporting obligation as the primary motivation. So they're being forced to do it, not because they just want to do it to be a good citizen. The regulation is pushing them to report. So they have no choices. And between the regulatory push and combined with the influence of Canada's major pension funds, it is leading to growth and demand for sustainable finance. When we talk about sustainable finance, we're talking about ESG. So let's look a bit deeper into the Canadian landscape. So if we look at the data, sustainable investment is now mainstream in Canada, with 71% of Canada's total assets under management, they are managed under responsible investment mandate. So 71% of Canada's assets under management, they are somehow following responsible investment mandate. How fully they're integrating ESG, we don't know, but somehow they are adhering to certain standards. If we look at the drivers, so the pension funds, significant Canada's globally significant pension funds, They're reshaping the market as well, with 9 out of the largest assets under management, which we're talking about $1.8 trillion, they committed to net zero by the year 2050. So there's a commitment as well now and drive towards that direction. If we look at the regulation, we're going through a tsunami. So a lot of bills are coming out where we're forcing transparency and creating significant legal risk around greenwashing. So really, you cannot pollute anymore and hide behind it. There are laws that are coming out. And the last thing is the results, where investors now, whenever they want to invest their money, they're not anymore only looking at marketing and profits and reputation. They look at now real data when it comes to, are those companies transitioning and integrating ESG into their operation investing. So it's becoming, investors are demanding that. So in practice, just few examples. When we talk about ESG, it's not a department that is responsible for this. It's usually, it has to be at the corporate wide, enterprise wide task. It's not related to one department. You can have team members who are responsible and leading this change, but it should be across the entire various organizational structure. So if we look at CIBC, for example, in Canada, they have built internal architecture system that addresses governance and data management so they can execute ESG at an enterprise-wide execution. Thomson Reuters, for example, linked the environmental efficiency directly to cost saving and increased business value. So they're saying, if you are environmentally efficient, you're going to save money and it's going to increase your business value. So they're addressing it. If we look at the energy sector in general, they were able to demonstrate that ESG performance is a tangible financial asset. So it's not an intangible. It's like inventory. It is like a building. It's a tangible assets that is driving a lot of corporates' merger and acquisitions and valuations. It's impacting the evaluation as well. So I think we established that this is an important topic, but there's a problem. We have a major problem, which is the lack of internal skills and data systems to support the process. So there's a growing disconnect between the strategic motivation or ambition of those CEOs, Canadian, and the corporates that they want to move ESG, and the ability and the skills availability to be able to execute a proper strategy of ESG within the organizations. So that's a major problem. Though it's a top priority, they lack the internal skills, the data systems, and the processes to manage it effectively. So it's not only about the skills, you have to have the systems, the reporting, and the processes, and the technology in order to manage it properly and create value. It's very important that you'll be able to create value out of this. So 63% of Canadian CEOs, they are admitting that they are struggling to fully embed ESG into their business in order to create value. And the key barriers are lack of internal skills, inadequate data management systems, technology, what we refer here, and there's internal silos. So some people are pushing for it, some departments are pushing for it, but it's not in a proper collaborative effort across various departments within the organization. These are mainly the challenges. And there's, like I mentioned, there's a disconnect between reality and perception. So 83% of the organization believe that they are ahead of their peers when it comes to ESG, yet only 47% still rely on spreadsheets and basic system to manage complex ESG data. It's not sufficient. And 53% of Canadian CEOs, they are confident that sustainability claims can be withstand scrutiny. So if they're audited, they might have some issues. They're not really up to the par. So to gain those skills, we are offering the certificate by the CFA Institute, which offers the CFA program. Many organizations, before I talk about the CFA Institute, so you have the British ACCA have created certificates in ESG reporting. You have the American AICPA have created as well certain courses and even certificates in ESG. Even the Canadian CPA now have training programs in ESG reporting. And the CFA Institute, which is the largest organization when it comes to finance certification, have created a sustainable investing certificate. So it's a program, you go through it. It gives you all the tools that you need to understand the environment and what is all ESG about. So why is it worth it? One is it is comprehensive. It will provide you with comprehensive knowledge and skills around ESG factors, which are today are very critical. It is very much market relevant. You stay current with the trends and deep understanding of sustainable investing, and you meet the investors' demand. Now, the investors are prioritizing that they will only invest in sustainable organization and responsible investments. They encourage responsible investments that contribute to the ethics and socially responsible investment decision. So you are equipped to meet those demands. It's globally recognized, so it's not relevant to one country, it's on a global level. It gives you career advancement. It gives you skills that you can market those skills, and it helps you in your career advancement opportunities. And it aligns with a lot of the corporate values in today's world, where related to sustainability, corporate social responsibility, and ethical business practices. So it is worth it. As a career path, so there are job opportunities. You can be an ESG analyst, researcher, sustainable investment advisor. These are all new topics. These are sample. ESG consultant, corporate sustainability manager, ESG compliance officer. You can be a ESG data analyst or reporting specialist or ESG auditor. You can work as an ESG auditor, and you have, like the way you have chief financial officer, chief executive officer, now you have ESG officers as well. So these are new topics. We see them now in job listings. The roles can vary between risk management, corporate governance, supply chain, marketing and communication, product development, legal and compliance, even in real estate. They're looking at that data analysis and investor relations. So it's have a wide scope in reality. It will give you the tools to assess companies' environmental, social, and government performance. So that you learn in the program how to assess their performance and to make informed decisions that will lead to returns and positive impact. You can identify ESG risks and opportunities, and you can integrate all this within the advancement strategies of the firm. These are the tools that you will be equipped with. So who is it for? People who are working in the investment professionals, or if you are a financial advisor, corporate executives, students, and even if you're an individual, you're a marketing person or accountant, you'd like to learn more and build those skills, you are eligible for it. Really, there's no requirement to get into the program. It's not like a rigid certification. So what you will learn is different approaches to sustainable and responsible investments, take into consideration ESG. You learn about what are the issues and the factors within each component. You learn on a global level, broader sustainability content and global initiatives, what's going on. And you learn about the ESG market, relevant size, key drivers, what are the challenges, risks, and opportunities, and the relationship and material impact and trends to analysis on a country and sector and company level. This is really what you will learn throughout the program. And governance factors, their characteristics and main models and material impacts. Additionally, you know how to do the analysis, valuation, integration, which everybody is trying to integrate it, and you'll be able as well to integrate it with portfolio construction and management, how you integrate ESG into portfolio construction and management, and how you apply various approaches, analysis across range of asset classes. So it's not only about portfolio, it's how we apply it across all asset classes within the portfolio. And of course, the investment mandate, portfolio analytics, and client reporting. You eventually have to report on those. So the program, these are main topics summarized, which is overview to ESG and ESG market. It's between 8 and 15%. Environmental factors, same ratio, 8 to 15. Social factors, and then you have governance factors. Engagement and stewardship, less weight on it. ESG analysis, valuation, integration, the biggest weight, between 20 and 30%. And ESG integrated portfolio construction and management, between 10 and 20. And finally, investment mandates, portfolio analytics, and client reporting. These are the various elements with the exam weight on each topic. The length of the exam is 2 hours, 20 minutes. It's a 100% computer-based exam with 100 multiple choice questions. You have to choose 1 out of 4. And the passing score, they don't tell you 20 or 30. You either pass or fail. So it varies, and the passing benchmark is determined for every exam by the CFA Institute. So it's either pass or did not pass, and you will get your results immediately after the exam. A copy will be emailed to you as well. The exam is done here in Canada. For those who do not pass, you'll get a performance feedback, what went wrong. And the program is run with Kaplan Schweizer, which are the #1 when it comes to finance education. For those who are CFAs, you probably studied with Schweizer, Kaplan, and the CFA, this program as well. The platform we will be using is Kaplan Schweizer platform. So it's 15 plus hours. Will give you instruction, on-demand instruction through videos and expert instructors. The system has AI features as well. So we have video lectures. We have recorded course lectures as well from live instructors. You will get the guide to start your exam journey that gives you tips and hints. There's a pass protection in case you don't pass and you meet certain criteria. The system will be open for you to retake the exam, and the system will be updated. There are 100 questions, realistic mock exams. So you'll be getting 200 multiple choice previous exam questions using the SIM technology just to practice. You'll get QBank as well, containing hundreds of exam questions back. So you get previous exam questions, and you get QBank, additional multiple choice questions to practice. There's a forum you can access to it where all students preparing for the exam, they post, they support each other. There would be academic support to instructors link if you have questions while preparing, and you'll get the guidance throughout the course. Definitely the course is very interactive. You'll get the plan. We'll work with you on a plan, a study plan, and all the resources. And you have one-on-one technical coaching support as well. And the course does include exam tips and strategy, because not only you need to have the knowledge, you need to as well know how to apply your knowledge on those exams. What are the best tips? I want to end it with this, and I'll answer all your questions. Let me
work taking. Hello, everyone. My name is Walid Tengizli, and I recently completed my ESG investing certification with Morgan International. The program was incredibly well structured, diving deep into the ESG principle and how they impact today's investment landscape, which has already helped me better integrate ESG criteria in my work. One tip for anyone sitting for this exam is to practice as much as possible with the mock questions and past exams. They help you to get familiar with the types of questions you will encounter, which make a big difference on the exam day. What impressed me the most was their ability to simplify complex topics. They were also very supportive, always available to answer questions and provide feedback, making the course more interactive. The materials were excellent, especially the case studies and practical examples. This helped me understand the real-world application of ESG investing, which made the learning experience more meaningful. My support system was very important. My family and colleagues encouraged me throughout, and I also connected with others preparing for the certification, which helped me keep me motivated and accountable. Morgan International truly stands out because of their comprehensive approach and exceptional support system, which includes live sessions, platform access with explanatory videos, question banks, and mock exams. So, for anyone considering the certification, I'd say go for it. It's challenging, but absolutely worth it. Remember to stay focused and disciplined. Thank you for listening, and good luck to anyone considering this program.
So this is an ex-student out of out of our French and from France, from Paris, classes who attended the course. I think I've covered. I want to give a room for question answer. I don't want to be only lecturing. I know that you'll be more interesting in the question answer period. I'll take any questions. You can type them, or you can unmute and ask the question. Any questions?
Fadi, thank you for the presentation. In the Q&A section, we have one open question. I
Yes.
bet you have covered it already, but it's good to to re-emphasize on those details. The question is how long the certification course duration, and they are asking about the cost as well. In regards to
Okay.
the cost, we're gonna be sharing all the details after the presentation. But about the course by itself, the duration, if you can give us some input about it as well.
Yeah. Well, we have first of all, I don't know about the cost, but it's not big investment. Every country has its own pricing. So I think my colleague will be sharing. I have no clue what is the cost, tell you the truth. The duration is not very long. I think it's around 11 to 12 lectures. Every lecture is around 3 hours. So we're talking of live instructors of around 30 to 36 live online hours. That's if you want to attend the live online classes or the live. If you want to do it as self-study, it's how much time you put. If you are willing to put 3 hours to 6 hours per week, I think within 4 to 5 weeks, you should be ready to sit for the exam. So it's a matter of how much time you put if you're going through the self-study. The more time you put, the quicker you will finish from the program. I'll tell you one thing, always a hint throughout my experience, in such type of exams or certification, the trick is to solve previous exam questions. So if you focus on solving previous exam questions and you're scoring 90% and above, you should be ready to sit for the exam. So that I will advise you is solve every question 3 times. If you're getting 90%, sit for the exam. No matter how much you understand the content and you memorize the content, if you know the entire textbooks and you memorize them, you go to the exam and you will fail. The trick is to focus on solving previous exam questions. So what I would do in my preparation is that I will go through the theory content very briefly. Once I've attended the lecture, I'll just read it, understand, and then go solve the questions. And when I'm solving the question, even if I score 20%, I'll read the answer, why the answer is A, not B and C. Once I've done that step, I'll go back to the theory and read it. Then I will be reading the theory from the examiner's point of view. You look at it from a different angle. And then you attempt the multiple choice question second time and a third time. So the whole process should take you around 1.5 months to maximum 2 months if you put 6 to 9 hours per week. I hope I answered your question.
I think it's pretty clear. We have another private question that I received about the correlation between the CFA designation and the ESG, meaning that if they complete their CFA and then start with the ESG, or vice versa, if they start with the ESG and then complement it with the CFA. So, is there any correlation between those
No,
two programs? Any recommendations based on your experience whether they
no,
should do both?
no, there's no correlation. We have a lot of CFAs, they're diverting into the ESG. We have a lot of people who start with the ESG directly. It's not, it's a different set of skills the ESG required than a CFA. So there's no correlation that you have to have your CFA, it's better than get your ESG, or you start with USG and then you get the CFA. Having a CFA is not going to help you pass the ESG, and having ESG is not going to help you pass the CFA. Is it good to have both? Of course. You've completed the circle. So there's no correlation. The only correlation between passing those exams and not is how much time you spend studying. It's a simple formula. And don't be cheated that the instructor will make you pass at this. The effort is on you. We'll give you all the tools, we'll give you all the support. You have to put the efforts in order for you to pass the exam. It's as simple as that. There is a question is, does the certificate help getting job placement in financial sector? Yes. Like I mentioned, specifically in Canada, the regulation, they're pushing for it. Companies are pushing for it. Banks are pushing for it. Pensions are pushing for it. Being able to construct a portfolio or asset class different assets within a portfolio, integrating ESG definitely is a skill requirement. There's not a lot of people in the market that have those certification, and definitely it will help you find a job. And not only in Canada, it's a global. So these skills that you learn, they are a global requirement. So it's definitely will give you a competitive advantage over your university education. That's for sure. I mean, if you look at the market trends and everything now, really the return on those certification is much higher than a typical university degree. There's another question here. It says, you had mentioned earlier in the presentation about the resources. Would you have any focus on AI or pension funds shaping the market? Okay. So the resources, there's various resources that will provide you to prepare you for the exam. The AI I referred to is really to measure your performance. So once you are preparing for those programs, the system will learn your strength and weakness. So the AI embedded in those focus is really to track where are your weaknesses and where your strength, and it will guide you throughout the learning journey where to focus your studying in areas where you are very weak. It's really to be more efficient, and the system will understand your strength and weakness, and then it will push towards your areas that you need to focus on. That's basically the AI within the system. Focus on AI and or the pension funds shaping the market. Yeah, pension funds, they're shaping the markets. As you know now, things are changing with the technology. Everything is changing. So unless you develop new skills required in today's market, you might become obsolete. I'm sure you're hearing the news that certain administration jobs, Microsoft, they closed down some jobs, 500 jobs, and this because of AI. So really, when we talk about AI, we're not talking about you losing the job. It's really focusing your skills on what is needed to complement the AI. And ESG now is something that is really in demand. So the typical finance person that we used to know 20 years ago, today can be replaced easily by AI. Unless you drive a value and you're judgment-based, you take a judgment-based or create a judgment-based value within your scope of work and develop your skills, you're not going to be able to compete against AI. It's as simple, and the truth is, it is what it is. Any other questions?
Yes, Fadi, we have one question regarding the actual professional experience for an ESG background. So, are there
No.
any positions that are strictly offered to an ESG holder, or they get open for strictly the profiles who hold the ESG?
Yeah, there are positions now being open for ESG. They might not say that you have to have the certification, but you have to have the skills, develop the skills related to ESG. And some of the positions they're open, they say, okay, you come in, this is the role, this is the function, but you have to be certified within the next 2 years. So it is it is a skills requirement, and definitely as we move on and things become more complex, there's going to be demand for certificates. Only people who are certified can work within that domain. Currently, it is not, but it's going in that direction. Similar to auditors now. If you want to work in Canada as an auditor and sign on financial statements and produce those reports, you have to have your Canadian CPA. CFA, if you're working as a portfolio manager or hedge fund or fixed income specialist or in derivatives, is preferable. If you are CFA, you have a competitive advantage. Same thing with the ESG. It's a new topic. How much calculation part in the course? I didn't know. It's not about calculation. The ESG is not about formulas and quants. It's really understanding how you embedded them and how you report them. There are some calculation, but it's not focused on that. It is focused more on how you integrate each component. You take those factors and how you build it within the asset classes and how you report on them. So there's another question here about how is AI impacting ESG? It's very simple. You have to create the systems and the processes it's a very complex data, like data analytics, if we look now at Excel sheets or Power BI, or we use various reporting from Excel, we're using a lot of AI. If you look at Power BI to pull out those reports spontaneously, those dashboards, Power BI is using AI. Like any other reporting functions, there are softwares. You have a large amount of data. You need to be able to set the data management and process it into a place. And if you want it spontaneous, you need to integrate AI in those reporting tools like Excel or whatever. And there are special reporting tools that you need to embed it in ESG. There's a lot of softwares coming up. So again, AI is impacting every function in the business. I was reading an article today that we're talking about AI. I think Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, and now managers to be rewarded, part of their KPI is not only about their performance, is how much AI they're using or they're within their day-to-day jobs. So are they looking for ways to improve and use the technology and AI to complete their tasks? That's part now of their performance criteria. So it is here to stay, and it's gonna move at a much faster pace. Yeah, it's a reality. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions?
I think this is it, Fadi. You have covered basically all the questions which were put on the table, and most of the information. It was very informative. Thank you a lot for your time. And for sure, we're gonna be sending a post webinar email for all of the attendees and the registrants that includes the major information that you have mentioned, and of course the link to rewatch the session, the recording of that session, so that they can review what they have missed. And of course, it's going to include all the details of the packages and of course our contact details so that they can reach out to us at any time for any question or for any further clarification.
Thank you, everyone. These are our contacts. I'd like to wish you best of luck. Reach out to our teams if you have any questions, and the best of luck. Thank you for attending.